So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys the blueprint of how I retired from my 9-to-5 job at the age of 29. And I'll show you guys the blueprint. If you guys stay until the end, I'll tell you the secret sauce. If you guys stay until the end of this video, I will promise you guys I share that secret sauce with you guys. And I know right off the back, a lot of people is gonna be like, yes, another person talk about retiring before the age of 30. Just so you guys know, I'm a first generation immigrant. I'm originally born in Taiwan. I came to Canada at the age of 18 and I went through an engineering school and I got a corporate job, just like a lot of you guys out there that are watching this video. I worked a lot of overtime for 6 years, climbing the corporate ladder. And at the end, before I quit, I make more than 100K, but I was having a miserable life. So if you're someone who's skeptical and say, Cody, I'm having a very struggling life right now, how's that possible that you were able to retire? I will show you guys the blueprint. I was able to retire from my full-time job because of my business, because of the real estate investing, but most importantly, because of the cash flow I'm generating from my set and done strategy, and that is through stock option investing. I have hundreds of students, most of them are real estate investors, but a lot of them are just on their way to buy their first property, just like a lot of you guys as well. So first things first, why I was able to retire at 29 is because I have a strong why. I have a strong pain point. I came to Canada with a student visa. I know that my parents were paying a lot of money. They have a lot of hope in me. And that's why I chose to study an engineer, because that to me is the safest way to get a decent pay job. Not a job that will get you very wealthy, but a job that will be able to be self-sustaining. So I know that at that point, I cannot fail from school. I have to be self-sustaining. I have to pay for all my living costs. I cannot get a part-time job to pay for the tuition fee, but because it's extremely expensive. So while I was working at this engineering job for 6 years, I remember that I was always renting a $600 room in a house. Not the whole house, but just one room. It's because most of the days I wake up around 6 a.m. I go right to work. I get off work around 5 to 6 p.m., right? So a lot of times I don't actually see the sun because I'm in Canada. The winter is really long. So I don't really need a lot of space. So basically the place I stay at is just a place for me to crash. And on the weekend, I was so cheap that I didn't get a place in the city. I was far away from the city, about an hour drive. So I still want to have some fun because I was a young dude. A lot of time I call my friends and just shamelessly ask them if I can crash on their couch. And that's how I was able to save a lot of money, not pay for extra rent. And I only pay $600 per month for one room for 6 years, up until I quit in 2019, which I was 29 years old, right? And I remember climbing the corporate ladder. It's not the smartest way, but it was the only way I knew in the beginning. And I remember there was one aha moment that was so painful. I have to finish a project on time and on budget. So I had to go through a third shift, what they call a graveyard shift. So between 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. I was remembering at night, we're wearing our uniform, wearing our hard hats. I was with another electrical engineer. We're down in the pit and we have to wear a device strap on our chest to make sure that we have enough oxygen and the level of CO is not too high so we will not pass out. But we were so tired that I told my colleague that if I fall asleep, please make sure you pinch me and wake me up. Nevertheless, we did finish the job for that night and we went for a whole week like that. I have to shift my whole schedule and I realized that I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. It could be good money, I'm getting paid overtime, graveyard, premium, whatever, but it's just not as smart as way, because once I have a family, I can't be sustaining that kind of life. I can't be working 400 to 800 hours of overtime every year to make that kind of money and putting my health at that kind of risk, right? So that's when I realized it's gotta be more than that. And that's when I started getting into day trading, right? Thankfully, one of my friends referred me his coach. My coach at that time is 24 years old and she was already driving a Rolls Royce. I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. And her side hustle is actually flipping Hermes bags. For people who doesn't know, Hermes bag, in order to buy them, you need to buy a lot of accessory for you to get into that. So there's a lot of people who has money cannot buy them. So guess what? She can buy them. So she started flipping bags on the side to get extra cash. But full time, she's actually a day trading coach, right? She was able to teach me a system. She was able to only spend about 1.5 hours per day actually trading. But before the trading, we need to spend about 1 to 2 hours reading the news, consolidating what we're gonna do for the day. And then we trade for about 1 hour to 1.5 hours. And after that, for the 2-3 hours, we do write our reports on every single entry and exit. Why do we enter? Why do we exit? Is that part of our strategy? Do we follow our technical analysis? And do we follow our strategy? right? That's all the hard work. I still remember the first 4 months, my coach told me that I will be losing money. And I couldn't believe her because I'm like, I'm already paying for your coaching. And if you're so good, how am I gonna lose money with your guidelines? And she's like, no, because you don't have the mindset, you don't have the mental capacity to do the day trading as a machine, right? So long and behold, thankfully I start with my account really small with $10,000. I remember the first 4 months I was getting grind down to $4,000. And then my win rate, I think, is about like 33%. So whatever happened is that, a lot of time I take small wins and then I took more losses than my wins, right? Even though my losses and wins are both really small, but losses were more often. So we end the first year with 66%, go on with the second year. And what I realized is that with that kind of schedule, I already have a full-time job, right? Like I mentioned, I work 6 a.m. to 5 to 6 p.m. There's not a lot of time left in the day. And I go on and do this day trading where we're trading the Asian market. So that means there's a 12-hour difference. And that's why I was able to do it. But I was spending 5 to 6 hours doing this day trading as a second job, right? And at that time, my account's not big enough, right? I put in about 10K to 50K. I make 66%, so that's $6,000, $30,000. It's not enough to really replace my full-time income. At that time, I was already making more than 100K, right? And that's when I started studying into how can I spend less time and make my money-making system more efficient, right? That's when I started getting into selling options. That's when I started getting into selling options on individual stocks, right? Doing some spreads, and I started taking personal coaching clients. Along the way, that's when I save up enough cash from my day trading second job and from my full-time corporate job to buy my first house. And that first house cost me around $460,000. About 5 years later, I sold it for $1 million. So I took all those profits and put it more into my trading account. And at that time, we already established our said and done strategy. For people who doesn't know, click the link in the description. There's an upcoming TD webinar in May, and it's all free. I'll share my secret sauce there as well. So stay tuned. So how do I get my first property so that the property appreciate and I can take out the equity in the property to put into my trading account to start making a huge difference to replace my full-time income? Like I mentioned, I work a lot of overtime. I was making over 100K, but I pay a lot of tax, but I was able to live cheap, dirt cheap, like $600 per month. I was saving the rest of the money for a down payment. But I remember I was saving 4 years in a row. I still couldn't get my first down payment to pay for a $460,000 house. So what I did is that I think I have around 70K, and then I borrowed another $37,000 from my mom. I know, for people who are like arguing about this, compared to borrow from your credit card or from your mom or your parents, not that I don't pay it back, I actually pay it back. And now that I give my mom thousands of dollars every month for our said and done strategy proceeds, so it doesn't eat into my nest egg. But at that time, I borrowed about $37,000 and I was paying back about $600 per month. That allows me to buy my first property, and I never live in it because I was okay with $600. I don't need the whole house. But thankfully that house appreciates, took out some money, put in my trading account. I go buy my second property, go buy my third property, do some work to it to make it positive cash flow, right? So that's how I was able to now accumulate 4 properties and have a 7-figure in my stock option account. I was able to live the life like, today is Wednesday. We're driving to one of our properties to just look to film a video and having the financial freedom life. I'm traveling to Vegas in April, Miami in May, and then Europe in July, and then back to Asia in October. Okay, so I sold the first property, took out the proceeds, put it in my trading account, half of it into my trading account, half goes to buy more real estate. And years after, we were able to build our dream home right now. This is a 2-story home, 2-bedroom on each level, and it's where we're gonna raise our family. Now, for you starting out, you could really just need to work 2 years full-time, have a good credit, and start buying your first property. And use that first property as the equity goes up, you can build up your home line of credit, and then take that equity, put in half in the trading account, half into buying the next property. And soon after, if you keep accumulating a cash flow positive real estate property and keep building up your trading account, right? If your trading account is making 18 to 54%, just like our alumni are making with our said and done strategy, now you have a really solid cash flow stream, also building your long-term equity in real estate. And this is the roadmap to how you can reach financial freedom at the age of 29. And if you're watching this video and you're just early 20s, you can actually honestly follow this roadmap and retire before me. So I know I promised earlier, if you watch until this point, I will tell you about the secret sauce. Everyone's looking for that secret sauce, but the truth is you just need to hire a mentor, someone who already been doing what you're doing or living the lifestyle you want, and they will provide you with a blueprint. Along the way, while I learn about real estate, while I learn about day trading, while I develop my set and done strategy and stabilizing the strategy what we have right now, I have been given a lot of help through different mentors along the way, and they have really compressed the time I have to put in and avoid a lot of the mistakes that I could have made. And just takes a bit of knowledge, take a bit of action, and also the guidelines in between to piece it together. We can make this happen together. And thanks for watching this video. Hope you all reach your own financial freedom sooner. I'll see you in the next video. Say yay.